Hello, today is Tuesday. It is January 12th, and welcome to Commissioner in a Car. I'm Dustin Zarni, Onondaga County Elections Commissioner, and we are hitting the ground running here in 2021. Obviously, there's been a lot of activity over the last few weeks, and I'll talk about that. I've talked about that a couple of times in my Zoom with Zarni's, but I'll talk about that a little bit with the ridiculous events of last week. And the Georgia Senate runoffs, that resulted in great Democratic wins, and then an insurrection that tarnished our democracy on January 6th. But today, what I wanted to talk to you about is the political calendar has been released. The New York State Board of Elections has released the political calendar with all the pertinent dates for running for office in 2021. And yes, elections happen every year in New York. A lot of times people say, there's a presidential election every 4 years. But there are elections that happen every year. And this year, as we went over last week, the offices that we're running are your local town offices, the ones that have more impact on your life than even the presidential, congressional, and Senate. These are the offices that are going to determine exactly what is your needs in your own community. So the political calendar is how we determine when they can run for office, who can run for office, and what the dates are for all of that. So if you're a candidate and you're looking to run for a local town office, you're either going to get on the ballot by petitioning, which means going door to door and getting signatures of people, or by caucus if you're a town candidate in certain towns in Onondaga County. So those are the two ways that you can get on the ballot as of today. Obviously, going door to door in the middle of the COVID crisis is going to be hard, and we expect the legislature or the governor to make some decisions about changes to that. But those decisions have not been made, and they have not even been discussed in a way that we feel confident that we know which way anybody's going. So elections commissioners have to follow the law that is on the books, and the law that is on the books today is that we will be going door to door, and that starts on February 23rd. So on February 21st, the boards of elections will start to populate our petitions, or each election district will know how many people are enrolled in each party in each election district, and that will determine the number of signatures that candidates have to get when they start going door to door. That's on February 21st. Of course, you have until February 14th to go ahead and change your party. So you have up until that date to do that. On February 23rd is the first day to go door to door for petitions. They have to be turned in on March 29th through April 1st. And by the way, I should say that all this information is on our website at onvote.net. Under the political calendar, you can download the political calendar and get all these dates for yourself. So most offices in Onondaga County are going to be filled by the petitions. There's a few towns, some Republican offices, some Democratic towns that do by caucus. And if you run in an office that has a petition, that means that you will be part of the June primary. The June primary is on, let's see here, it is, looks like, okay, June 28th. Looks like on here. I'm looking for it on my calendar here, yes, it's, I'm sorry, June 23rd is the June primary this year. So that is if you're running for petition and there's more than one Democrat that has filed petitions, and they're good petitions, then you will have a primary, and it'll be on June 23rd. All of the city of Syracuse will be in a primary on June 23rd for almost every office, I would imagine. So, but there will be primaries in other places as well. A little early to find out when those will be. We'll know that on April 1st. That's when the last day to turn petitions in. So, hey, April Fool's Day. We'll get to see who is really a candidate and who decided not to be a candidate. So that's April 1st. And then on June 23rd, we have the primary. For those of you who are in caucus towns, where your town party committees meet by caucus, they can hold that caucus anytime between February 23rd and, let's see here, February 23rd and July 22nd. So they can hold a caucus anytime in that period. They give a 10-day notice to the Board of Elections and have a classified ad and hopefully do other public notice, but that's what a caucus does. And a lot of people are switching to caucuses because we're still not sure about in-person registration or in-person going door to door during COVID. So there are a few towns that are by caucus. We'll know more around February 21st is the last day for them to actually make a decision about whether they're doing caucuses or primaries this year. So around that time period, I'll be letting you know if you're a town candidate, whether you're doing it by petition or whether you're doing it by caucus. And then so they have all that time to do it. Now, independent petitions, what are called independent nominating petitions, these are people who don't have a party who want to file petitions to run for office. It looks like they have those petitions are running from April 13th to May 18th through the 25th is when those have to be turned in. So all of these parties that are no longer parties, or no longer recognized parties, like the Green, Libertarian, SAM, and Independence parties, the only way that they can get on the ballot is through this independent nominating petition. Of course, we have a lot of focus on the mayor of Syracuse, who's an independent, office holder. He may have to walk independent party petitions. And if you only have one line on the ballot, either Democrat, Republican, working families, or conservative, you only have one of those lines, sometimes you walk another independent nominating petition. And so that's going April 13th to May 18th to the 25th is when those have to be turned in. And the last thing is called opportunity to ballot. This is if you do not get a designation on a third-party line. If you're a Democrat and you don't get the conservative or working families designation, but you want to do a write-in candidacy for that line, those petitions start on March 16th and have to be turned in by April 8th. So these are the major dates for getting on the ballot for office, but there's a few other dates that we should know about when it comes to registration. Of course, I already mentioned the February 14th, Valentine's Day. Fall in love with your party day. You have until that time period to change your party so you can either walk petitions or vote in the primary. And you have to do that, and we have to receive it by February 14th. For the primary election, the last day to apply for the primary election let's see here. The last day to apply for the registration for the primary is May 28th. That's the last day to either apply by mail or in person for the primary election. The deadline is 4 months. Chris Shepard asked, the deadline for when to switch from towns to caucuses is 4 months from the primary day. So I believe it's February 21st or 22nd. Chris, I'll get to you offline and I'll get that exact date for you. But so the deadline to switch could be as late as February 21st or 22nd. It's 4 months from the primary. The primary is on June 23rd. So, 120 days. I believe is what the law says, so it's around that time period. Going back to voter registration, the registration for the primary is May 28th. You have to be registered to vote. Changes of addresses are June 2nd. Registration for the general election is October 8th, and changes of addresses are October 13th. Don't wait, get it done now, and we can get you taken care of, especially if you've moved or you're going to move. It's best to get those applications done by the Department of Motor Vehicles, or going to onvote.net and filling out a form and mailing it in. Now, and then there's some deadlines for absentee ballots. There's a lot going on that, and we'll talk a little bit about that. This may be changing, but right now, if you want an absentee ballot for the primary election, you have to ask for that absentee ballot by June 15th. There is rumors that is going to go back to another 7 days, so boards of elections have enough time to mail those out. So the deadline may go to June 8th, or around that time period. Of course, you can still do it in person up until June 21st. For the general election, the absentee voting is October 26th. Again, it may go back 7 days to get an absentee ballot through November 1st. And finally, not for 10 days before any election, the June primary or the general election, there will be early voting for 9 days, and then the day off on the Monday before. And of course, those dates are November 2nd is the general election, and June 23rd for the primary election. And if we don't have any Supreme Court offices open in our area, so we don't have to worry about that. And also, if you are a political committee, you can download this political calendar at onvote.net under the political calendar setting, and it'll have your filing deadlines for all of your financial filings that are on there. I'm not going to go through those on the podcast. Those of you who need to do that know how you need to do that. So that is the kind of the overview of the political calendar. That kind of sets up our year here at the Board of Elections. It's going to be a very busy year for us, as always. We already saw this week lots of legislation being passed by the New York Senate to improve absentee ballot voting. And this is a great conversation going on around the state, is finding ways to start counting these absentee ballots before Election Day, have the portal system be permanent where you can apply online through the State Board of Elections, and also having a statewide tracker system in place. These are all things that are happening right now. These are bills that were passed. Also, the constitutional amendments for same-day registration and no-fault absentees are being passed today, I believe, in the Senate. And now all these bills have to go to the Assembly. And once they're passed there, they'll be law, except for the constitutional amendments. They'll be on the ballot this year. And once the vote is approved, then they become law. So we have a lot of things coming your way. The absentee ballots, one of the concepts of this is that you can go to vote during early voting and have your absentee ballot pulled, but after that, if you've sent in an absentee ballot or requested an absentee ballot, you'll have to either provide that absentee ballot when you go to the polls on Election Day, or vote by affidavit ballot. And boards of elections will be counting absentee ballots starting this Sunday before the Sunday night before Election Day, going on through Monday and Tuesday, to start opening them and counting them, and hopefully getting as many done to be part of our election night results on Tuesday night. That's one of the concepts. There's other concepts out there. We'll see which one rules out, but we did see that the governor in his State of the State address talked about wanting to count absentee ballots earlier, and that is very important. We're very hopeful that something will be done with the legislature to give us boards of elections the resources and also the authority to start counting absentee ballots before Election Day, and solving a lot of these ridiculous challenges that we saw during this last election. And I'm going to kind of end my Commissioner in a Car with two things today. The first thing is the ridiculous insurrection that we saw last week. I talked about it in my last Zoom with Zarni. It was ridiculous. And if you haven't seen that Zoom with Zarni with Tom Keck, please take a look at it, because Tom is an amazing guest, and he has so many pieces of information to let us know, how we can move forward and how we can rebuild our democracy. But seeing this insurrection take place and all of this, just pure fantasy of, that A, it could work, and B, that it was justified because of phantom voter fraud is just still disturbing. And as each day comes out, we're seeing more and more information come out about how complicit the White House has been in this. This is why I was so glad to see the Common Council and the county legislature Democrats all come out for impeachment and removal of Trump from office. And it was very important to see that happen. It's too bad the Republicans won't join them. Unfortunately, it's not surprising that they won't either. But he will leave next week, and hopefully we can start to put some of this behind us and start fixing our democracy and fixing our culture to stop the spread of this misinformation that has resulted in violence. There were people who died, and there were people, and there were targets of Democratic and the sitting vice president lawmakers who, were targeted by this crowd for execution. This is serious, and as serious as anything can be. So we need to resolve this, and we need to find a way to make our society better. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, and it's going to be brief, is because I'm still waiting to get details, so I hope next week we'll be talking about a little bit more, and that's the redistricting that was passed by the Syracuse Common Council. Finally, a 2-year journey has come to its end, and Syracuse will be the first city east of the Mississippi that is going to have a citizen-led independent redistricting commission. And now the application for that starts on February 1st, I believe. So we'll be waiting to hear from the Syracuse City Auditor, Nader Maroon, about what the application process is. And as soon as we hear, we'll be letting you know. And if you live inside the city of Syracuse, this is an incredible way to take part of your government and draw the lines for your district councilors and make history. So I'm really happy that got done, and I'm really happy that Syracuse is leading the way. So I hope that we continue to make progress on these types of issues. Well, thank you very much, and I look forward to talking to you over the next week. On Wednesday, I'm going to be releasing another Wonky Wednesday with the City of Syracuse enrollment figures. We're going to be taking a quick dive into that. And then on Thursday, just recorded an interview with New York Democratic Lawyers Council's Liza Abraham. She's the executive director. She did a lot of work with Georgia and objections this last year and improving our democracy here in New York, and she's always a great guest to have on. And then on Sunday, I'll be talking to Roger Miso, who's the executive director of Taking the Hill PAC and former candidate for Congress, and always a very entertaining person. He's our first time on Zoom with Zarni. I'm really excited to be talking with him and bringing that to you as well. So I hope you like everything, and if you can, share these postings, because as we are staying home and staying out, this is a way to staying out of these community meetings aren't happening. This is the only way to get information out there is like and share on social media. Wear a mask, please, if you are going out. The virus is still with our community. Vaccines are now available to anybody over 65. So if you are, please find a way to get yourself vaccinated if you can. And thank you to all the healthcare workers that are out there keeping us safe. All right. Thank you very much. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.